Hello everyone, my name is Quetzali and this is my video about type of clauses. First of all, a clause is a part of a sentence. A clause is a group of words that has a subject and predicate. Every complete sentence is made up of one or more clauses. Some examples of clauses are: Lisa cooked a delicious cake. This sentence has only one clause. And Lisa cooked a delicious cake, but she forgot it at home. This sentence has two clauses. Now, type of clauses. Every clause has at least a subject and a verb. Clauses have some characteristics that help to distinguish one type of clause from another. Type of clauses are independent clauses or main clause, dependent clauses or subordinate clause, relative clauses or adjective clause, and noun clauses. First, independent clauses. An independent clause or main clause is a complete sentence. It contains a subject and a verb and expresses a complete thought in context and meaning. Independent clause structure is subject plus verb. For example, she woke. This sentence contains only two words, but is a complete clause because it has a subject and a predicate. Also, main clauses can be joined by a coordinating conjunction to form complex and compound sentences. For example, and, but, for, etc. This is a clear example. He bought a new pants, but he's still using an old one. But is used to combine two independent clauses. Next, dependent clauses or subordinate clauses. It is part of a sentence. It contains a subject and a verb, but it is not a complete idea. They make sense by their own, but they are dependent of the rest of the sentence, by context and meaning. A dependent clause is joined to an independent clause. And for a complex sentence, it often starts with a subordinating conjunction. For example, after, also, before, as, etc. Dependent clause structure is subordinate conjunction plus subject plus verb. For example, whenever I go to the school, I buy a coffee. Next, relative clauses or adjective clauses. A relative clause starts with the relative pronoun at the start of the clause, like who, which, whose, etc. For example, I met some girls yesterday. The girl who had curly hair was very intelligent. Also, we have restrictive relative clauses and non-restrictive relative clauses. Restrictive relative clauses are sometimes called defining relative clauses or identifying relative clauses. Similarly, non-restrictive relative clauses are called non-defining or non-indefining relative clauses, and it is preceded by a pause in a speech or a comma in writing. For example, restrictive clause example. The programmer who develops web applications will make a large profit. And the example of non-restrictive clause is the programmer who develops web applications will make a large profit. Now we can see a little chart that exposes specifications of restrictive and non-restrictive clauses, also considering human and non-human relative pronouns. And finally, we have noun clauses. Noun clauses, it is depend a clause that works as a noun. Noun clauses can act as a subject, direct or indirect objects, or predicate nominatives. Some examples are as under. Tell me who left this book on the table. Direct object. I should tell. Showover will listen to the interesting story. Indirect object. However, it is the last one to leave turned off the lights. Subject. The boy with the curly hair is who I want on my team. Predicate nominative. Noun clauses often begin with pronouns or other words. That particular word usually has a grammatical function in the sentence. Relative pronouns like that, what, who, which, whom, and whose. Indefinitive relative pronouns wherever, whomever, whatever, etc. Interrogative adjective like what. Interrogative adverb how. Interrogative pronoun who, and subordinating conjunctions whatever, how, when, if, where, whatever, and why. Well, this is all for today. I'm glad you be here and see you in the next class.